Grandma and Grandpa, Nana and Pop-Pop, Mimu and Peepoo. These are, of course, the matriarch and patriarch of your family. Comprised mostly of the boomer generation, your grandparents love you very much, don't they? Who could forget the $50 checks you're getting on your birthday every year? Huh? Or all those summers spent mowing their lawn, all the while grandmother is making a big old glass of lemonade in the fridge? Huh? Oh my God. Great times. Think about how much they care about you, the warmth of 1,000 pocket caramels. And our grandparents, they may love us individually. However, I'm starting to feel a certain sense of disdain from their generation about us as a collective. And there's always been this sense of lamenting from the older generations. There's always been like, oh, they don't work hard enough. They got it too easy. All they want to do is wear dog costumes and walk around Disneyland. And while that may be true because of some of you freaks, I do believe that they are punishing us in a much more real way. If you take a few steps back, you'll see that we're living in a gerontocracy. This is where all the political power and wealth are held in a few liver-spotted, arthritis-ridden hands. This wouldn't be a problem if they led as good shepherds, because the prevailing idea would be that your grandparents, your mama and pop-pop and your pee-pee and poopa would leave the country in a better place than the way they found it. Right? Wrong. So today, on Bad Ideas with Big Al, we ask the question, why does Grandpa hate me? Welcome, folks, to Bad Ideas with Alec Flynn and Emmett. Welcome to Bad Ideas. My name's Alec Flynn, stand-up comedian and all-around pretty average guy. With me today is, of course, my producer, Emmett. Emmett, say hi.
Hi.
Okay, sound like you want to be here, please.
Hi.
Thank you. Unbelievable, dude. This is a video essay series where we do not rely on any sort of AI for our reporting. I just like to read a lot and let you know what the fuck is up. Today we'll be getting the following information largely from a Samuel Moyn article titled The Old Guard, Confronting America's Gerontocratic Crisis. I recommend reading his new book, which should be coming out on shelves in June. Check him out. But this was an article that I read in Harpers that I found fascinating. But before we get into the gerontocracy of it all, let's talk about what a gerontocracy is. Gerontocracy is a government or control as a nation or organization by people who are old. In this case, we are looking at boomers and let's say maybe even the elder Gen X. Now, do we have that here in America? What? Speak up. Do we have that here in America? Oh, we sure do, Sonny. Let's just take a look at the numbers here. Between 1960 and 1990, the median age of Congress was in the early 50s. Now the median age is past 60. I mean, you can take a look at any one of these fossils trying to vote on any issue of the day. They're mostly just asleep. At least half the Democrats in the House of Reps are 75 and older. 30 of them are running again this year. Again! Take, for example, Kay Granger. She was 81 years old while she was in Congress. And she decided not to run for re-election this year. Good for her, seeing that maybe her time is up. But while she was still a sitting member of Congress, they found her in an Alzheimer's home that her son had put her in because she forgot her faculties. Can you fucking believe that? That's crazy. Look at this woman. Nah, she seems nice. This, to me, is a failure of descriptive representation because ideally, your politicians resemble the people it serves. Do any of my friends wear adult diapers? No. Do my friends have their licenses still? Yes. Are my friends able to chew solid foods? Yum, 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 yum. Yeah! But you got to ask yourself, is that the electorate? Are the boys out here even voting? Didn't you want to get a sticker? The median age of those eligible to vote is 47, while the average age of actual voters is 55. Can you believe that? 55 years old. If you're 55 years old, usually you're just on your phone being like, I like my algorithm because it shows me all the stuff that I like and none of the stuff I don't like. Even worse is the average age of primary voters, which in 2024 was 65 years old. They're not going to be around to see the climate crisis. And it sucks ass because about 90% of the seats in the House of Representatives are effectively determined by primaries, not general elections where one party is usually heavily favored. We are seeing also record-breaking gerrymandering going on in all of these Republican-controlled states. That way, I mean, there's pretty much no way in which any sort of different outside party or outside voices can really even get in if you are also facing a gerrymandered district. Even in 2020, Americans 55 and older counted for a whopping 44% of all voters. And you can ask yourself, you go, Alec, why don't you ask me a question, Emmett?
What do you want me to ask you?
Why don't you ask me, like, hey, why don't young people show up for young candidates?
Hey, why don't young people show up for young candidates?
Thank you for asking, Emmett. Who the fuck am I voting for? Old Democrat or old Republican? It's a goddamn mud wrestling scene at the nursing home over who wants my vote. You're my boy, Blue. You're my boy. I want to vote for someone closer to my own age. However, the old are funding the old. The median dollar donated during an American election comes from a 65-year-old. Because they have all their assets, they still have all their money. I'm putting my groceries on Klarna. Why don't they just let you buy 3 blueberries at a time? I just would like some antioxidants. God forbid a man decides to flush it out of the system. So what we essentially have is, even when we do have younger candidates running, they're essentially still doing the bidding of the older generations. And speaking of money, how much money does my grandpa really have? What kind of bag are we talking here? Are you holding out on me, Grandpa? Because I'm going to fucking find out. Of course, when it comes to the gerontocracy, it does go hand in hand with plutocracy. Plutocracy stands for rule of the wealthy. In 2019, Americans under 40, 37% of the population, held a mere 5% of wealth, while Americans over 45, a similar amount of the population, held 72% of the wealth.
You say 45 or 54?
What?
What was the number of over?
54. What did I say?
45.
Wow. Thanks for speaking up.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. If you want to have like another, like a contribute even more to the show, I would really appreciate that, because I can tell you you're checked the fuck out right now. Keep that in. This is how, hey, I come from the Ellen DeGeneres School of Production Management. Hey, you give them an inch, they'll take a ruler. Remember that. The idea, of course, is that as Grandpa retires, he has saved enough of his nut to not have to work anymore and can live off of that. But as people are living longer and longer, they're more and more scared. They're still worried that as they grow older, they'll have to continue to pay people to help them out. That's why they freak the fuck out if any sort of property taxes are passed, any sort of things, because they've quote unquote worked so hard to get their property. You know, there are numerous property tax laws that protect the elderly under the idea that since they no longer have income, they shouldn't have to pay those taxes. This is wrong now. Seniors own all the homes, forcing cities to be full of old people hoarding property and forcing young people to the suburbs and commute downtown for fun and or work. I travel this great country doing standing up comedy. The amount of people that tell me, oh yeah, I mean, it's so expensive now. It's so expensive to live in the city, so I had to drive 30 to 40 minutes just to get here, just to get to your show. And I'm like, man, that's great, but if you want to like buy a t-shirt, let me know, because there's like a line. No, but it's like, this is most people my age. I mean, Emmett, wouldn't you say so? How many of our friends are living out in the suburbs and have to commute in to work?
I would say 75%.
75%. I want to live in the goddamn city. I'm in the city. This is what they look like. This is what old people look like. And you know what the worst part is? I'd still do it. Speaking of work, your boss is like 100 years old, isn't he? He's still making money. And he's not paying taxes on any of this shit. This is who your boss is. He's 100 years, he's Dr. Evil age. He pretty much was back in time. You can't get rid of old people. Don't point down at it, dude. We're trying to show that this is like a fucking actual thing here. He looks like a melting candle. He can nap at his major corner office just while resting his head on his elongated chest while he's got pinstripe dress shirt on and suspenders. Who are you working for? The oldest guy you've ever seen. And you can't get rid of him either because of the ADEA, the Age Discrimination in Employment Act. The current iteration of the act creates total abolition of mandatory retirement. There used to be a day and age where you could just say, hey, Irv, it's been real, it's been fun, but it hasn't been real fun. We need to move on. But you can't do that anymore. They're calling it discrimination. The man who passed the current iteration was a dude by the name of Claude Pepper, a Florida Democrat who turned his own state into a nursing home, and by chance also happened to die in office in 1988 at the age of 89 years old. You can't make this shit up, folks. Look at that guy. That guy could either be I think that's like Lindsey Graham's dad. That's either like Bizarro World Lindsey Graham or a cat judge. If it's not enough to already worry about AI taking your job, now you got to just think like, when is this old guy going to leave so I can move up in my company? When are they going to give me some real damn responsibility? The average age of a Fortune 500 CEO is 55, even while young leadership is profitable. When a young CEO dies unexpectedly, market prices dip. If an old one dies, the market prices soar. Now that's going to look a lot like this, okay? Now this is your classic chart right here. We're going to go quantity, price. And then that's how you get your share price right here, okay? That's pretty cool. Finance and economics major. Shout out St. Anselm College. They've got us by the balls, these olds. And I just want to know, why won't you be gentle? I'm not asking you to put them all the way in your mouth, but can you at least cup them instead of squeezing real hard? I guess it's naive to feel like they should help out. You know? In the words of Samuel Moyn, it won't work to suggest that elderly people have the same stake in building a better future, because they don't. They don't. You know, many a times you'll talk to an older person about the troubles and struggles that young people are having today, either in an economic sense or just the impending doom of climate change. And they'll just look at you straight faced and go, yeah, I'll be dead soon. I'll be dead. Not only that, but then would you just even like talk to them about like, you know, the struggles that you're going through as compared to them, they sort of take it as some indictment on their work ethic, on their experience in the American dream. We're not. I bet you've worked really hard. I bet you've earned everything that you've had. But at the same time, you got to acknowledge, shit for us sucks ass. Isn't that fair? Isn't it fair to look at what has happened and how fucked we are and be like, you know what, dude? That does suck. Another thing they could be doing is just realizing how bad they've fucked us, and maybe they're just projecting on us. Maybe all this talk of work harder, you're not working hard enough, is them trying to use weird boomer psychology to get us out of this situation through extraordinary means. I don't know. That feels like I'm grasping straws with it. You know? And it's an important side note I want to make. Many elderly Americans have counted as the oppressed. There are many poor seniors in our country, and many seniors who fought for our civil liberties today, and many seniors who fought for our country's freedoms. More than 1 million Americans over the age of 80 live below the poverty line. So it's not all seniors, but you know who I'm talking about. And while it does feel like I'm kind of doing a boomer move right now, screaming at nothing, into the void, if you will, into the cement mixer that is social media, YouTube, and all of that, in the current administration, we have a president who could not symbolize the selfish boomer any more than he currently does. It's imperative that for all of us young people, we have to remember, it's no longer left versus right. It's young versus old. Do you want to live in a society that's constantly being told what to do by your parents and grandparents? No, me neither. If we don't end up having midterms this year because our president cancels them, I think we got to get in the streets, break a couple hips, pour a couple tapiocas into the gutters, because I'll tell you what, maybe I speak for you, but I'm tired of this, Grandpa!
That's too damn bad.
Wow. Great job. If you enjoyed this episode of Bad Ideas with Alec Flynn, I would highly recommend you subscribe, like, share it with a friend. We will be back very soon with more episodes, and I hope you really enjoyed the deep dive and found it not only educational, but also entertaining. Right, Emmett?
Right.
All right. It's like pulling teeth, dude.